Oh my gosh, I literally love this outfit because, no, it's okay. I was just saying I love your outfit because literally my son right now loves Peter Pan, and I just bought him the hook. So this is incredible. I love that. Go ahead.
All right, so can you mateys hear me?
Pardon?
Can you mateys hear me?
Yeah.
All right, so my question for you was, I believe in high school you had a racial discrimination lawsuit, and you received $50,000 from your school as a result of this. And you've recently claimed that, like, racism isn't, like, such a big deal. So are you interested in perhaps giving that money back, or, like, what's the plan there?
So you're not educated about my life, and I'm very happy to educate you. And by the way, the best way to get educated about my life is to purchase my book, where I talked about this in chapter 2. I do just want to tell you that, because it's like remarkable to me that I wrote about this extensively in my book, and people always think this is a gotcha. They're like, gotcha, this happened to you in high school. Yeah, it's actually the reason I am conservative is because of this thing that happened to me in high school, which was a race incident that involved a kid that was my best friend, and he... You know, I got a boyfriend, that's the truth, and stopped hanging out with all my friends, as high school girls do. Totally innocent, normal situation. And one night, he obviously had too much to drink and got 3 people who I had never heard of or met to leave really horrific racist messages. Now, I've never once said that racism doesn't exist. That's something that was created by The Root, and people keep saying I've said it. Actually, I say the exact opposite. Racism will always exist as long as human beings exist, as human beings are ignorant, right? And that's when you meet somebody that's actually racist, they're just ignorant. It's the people that I'm like, I could never even be offended by you being a racist because I'm going to be so far ahead of you in life. It's ridiculous, right? But going back to the story, this kid used to be my friend. He was upset that I stopped hanging out with him. And unfortunately, one of the people that left these messages happened to be the governor of Connecticut's son. So this turned overnight into a political sensational story. It's my first introduction to the media, my first introduction to the NAACP, who showed up at the front of my school, had never talked to me, but tried to raise money off of real hurt that I was going through. Nobody tried to sit down and actually resolve the situation. Was the kid a racist? Well, obviously not, because we were best friends for years, right? Was he hurt? Yes. Did he say racist things? Yes. That situation, and by the way, the money refund that you're talking about was because while this was a huge news cameras outside event, homeschooled. I had to stay home and homeschool and get private tutoring while this was going on until the FBI could trace these phone calls. So if you're stepping to the plate to tell me that that's not right, that, you know, you got reimbursed for being out of school, you're making not a very valid point, I don't think. But the moral of what my lesson was that people are raising money. What I learned from it was people are literally raising money off of racism. The NAACP never wants racism to go away, okay? They want, because they can fund on finding it everywhere, and they didn't care about the fact that I was a young teenager. I learned a lesson about the media. It's all about selling headlines and selling your story and your point of view, and nobody looked at me or those boys, for matter. One of them was 12 and was being called a racist, and it impacted the rest of that kid's life. Like, I mean, these kids were suicidal, on drugs, plenty of arrests after it, because that's how traumatic it was to have adults rush, and instead of adulting, labeling kids for the rest of their lives without trying to get to the root of the situation. So I appreciate the Captain Hook heroic attempt to catch me at my own game. But I am very proud of what I went through in high school, and I thank God for it, because it woke me up to a lot of the things that we're facing today in our society. And thank you so much for your question.